Markets with Tommy Grisafi from Advanced Trading, of course, based at Mayville, North Dakota. Ati Pro Media. Tommy, let's talk. Of course, we've turned the calendar into June, and it's probably a good thing because May was pretty ugly for most of the commodities.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. I'm sitting in Valparaiso, Indiana today, and everyone's yelling that we have a drought, but it rained pretty hard last night, but I heard it was just right here. So many things to talk about as we turn the clock. June 1st, today, everyone, we got, not like they're watching this video to figure out what day it is, but it is important from a market standpoint to talk about what happened in May and what could happen in June. Don, we are in a full-blown weather market. We're coming in higher or lower every day based on perceived future rainfalls. The drought maps, the weekly maps came out. I'll send that to all the clients before I release this video. But those drought maps are saying above average temperatures for a big part of the country and below average precipitation. And the drought map came out and there was a lot more yellow. So last month, May, horrible month for soybeans, horrible for some of the wheats, corn all over the board. July corn up a little bit, D's corn down. We had a big bounce towards the end of the month that actually took away some of that selling. But prices aren't that great when you look at them versus where we were with crop insurance. The markets are way off the crop insurance levels.
That drought monitor you talk about, Eastern Corn Belt, Central Corn Belt looks like some dry weather challenges. Obviously, we're not in a full-blown drought when we're looking at the 1st of June, but something to be alert to, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, it's hot here. I put a new filter in the furnace. I went outside, sprayed the air conditioner, make sure I get all the cottonwood. Do you have cottonwood trees up there?
Not in North Dakota. We don't have any trees.
Well, that's, I'm sure people are laughing at home. You really do have a poor tree selection. I'm glad I'm glad we got that narrowed that out. We have cottonwoods here, and literally this white stuff flies through the air, and your air conditioners suck it up. And so I literally go out there about once a week, and you'll undo the air conditioner. Anyone out there watching this cottonwood trees knows what I'm talking about. Now, there's always your knucklehead neighbor who doesn't know to clean their air conditioner, and they go 2-3 years and they call the air conditioner guy and pay a couple $100 for him to take the hose and blow off your air conditioner. All right, back to the show, Cottonwood. It's hot here. It's going to be really hot. Not a little hot, but 90-degree hot. Now, are we going to be 90s for 4 days and get beautiful rains? If that happens, we're on the verge of a record crop. Or are we going to be continued heat, continued dry, continued heat up by you, continued dry, and no rains? These aren't $1 million rains. These are billion dollar rains here, and it's really hard to grow a crop. And you know how high the USDA has our yield. If we're gonna raise that bar that high, we're gonna need moisture to grow the crop.
Curious, Tommy, we're obviously still trading off this July contract. How long does that happen yet?
Well, July, that's a touchy subject here because right now everything feels good with the markets up, but we're going to move from July over to a SEP or DECE, and this is a big elevator trade, exporter. Markets are interesting. Obviously, corn's in tight supply, but quietly, when corn goes from $7 to the middle fives, like July did to $5.50, all of a sudden the folks come out of the woodwork and say, I still have 35,000 corn, 135,000 corn. You wouldn't believe the phone calls I've taken the last few weeks of people up in North Dakota who are holding on to hundreds of thousands of bushels of what was $12 wheat that now has a 7. And that very scenario of taking $12 wheat down to $7 cash, what's happening in the July is once we stop pricing off the July, it's going to get scary. And I'm going to do a video with my business partner, Dave Lechtenberg, about that. And we'll talk to the commercial department in advance. But I'm trying to get a heads up for when this happens. There are tens of thousands of farmers out there who are literally going to take an old crop, high-priced bushel and turn it into a new crop bushel. And once they flip the switch, they become a victim. But, of course, there was something they could have done before it. So it is definitely time to move that old crop, own it. How would you like to sell your old crop $1 higher than new crop and then buy a new crop call? That's something you could do in the markets right now, Don.
Wow. Looking at these outside markets, we've been following crude. That's been another one that's had some kind of a wild ride.
Yeah, crude oil went down to the middle sixes again, like 67, 66. Incredible ride with crude oil, and we'll see what happens. It's been a very volatile market. Of course, we're not hearing much about filling up the SPR. We're not hearing much about. There was that guy overseas who said that funny thing where, what was that guy overseas? He said, "We're going to make pain, or we're going to put you in pain or hurt." He quoted a line from a movie. They said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Oh, it's from an American movie." But there was a big meeting of the minds of the oil industry people, and he said, "We're going to put the hurt on America if oil, not just America, but the oil market if it keeps dropping." So I've had clients who consistently buy crude oil at 65. They seem to be able to sell at higher prices after that. Of course, futures and options have risk because we've also seen $23 crude turn into negative 48. So to say it's a value and it feels good there, that's fine. To say it couldn't go lower would be very not true.
Fed's out with their beige report, where the beige book, where they're basically taking a review of what's going on the economic side. I looked specifically out of the Minneapolis district, and really some solid findings about the farm economy right now. But those lenders that were being referenced had some concern not only about the volatile commodity markets, but about rising interest rates. Do we still see some uplift in these interest rates?
Yeah, they're talking about one more quarter rise. Right now, the CME Group, there's a website, the CME Group, called CME FedWatch. The other day, it was about a 60% chance of a quarter. Now it's down to about a 40%. They're still talking about a quarter in taming interest rates. Now, with all these commodities all over the world, for what a bad month they had last month, especially the energy sector, which is everyone needs food, but everyone really needs energy, and it weighs more. You're seeing some things in the real world come down, and you're seeing other things not. Obviously, like you look at the hog market or something, the price of pork, you go to the store and pork is just free and buy one, get one free. But there's other things in life that they're just not coming down. Inflation in Europe came out the other day. I think last month it was 7, it was 6.1, 6.2. Inflation's coming down, but we shouldn't all run around and celebrate that we only have 6, 7% inflation around the world.
How much does this whole debate about the debt ceiling, what's going on in Congress right now, impact that and really all of our markets?
Sure. Over the last few weeks when you and I talked about the debt ceiling, all I said was it was good theater. And let's hope it doesn't become real. And in the end, it was just theater. It's just noise. How often can a politician get their face on any major news network and hear themselves talk? And there's a lot of pork that goes in these bills, and they're making the sausage right now, as they say in D.C.
They passed it through the House last night. Now goes to the Senate. Looks like they hope to have it done in the Senate by the end of the week, which Janet Yellen says we run out of money on June 5th, so that's right in the nick of time. So hopefully they get everything wrapped up over there, but it looks like we're down that path.
That would be nice. You know, things for our growers look good, Don. We need moisture. There is a lot of talk, and you're starting to see banks talk about stuff that they're talking about, you know, assuming we get the moisture and we grow a good crop, things look good. But you're starting to see a lot more people talk about just how expensive it is to carry a bushel. And as we come into OND, October, November, December, the American farmer, for the first time in many farmers' careers, is really going to feel the pressure of paying big interest in storing grain. If you pay big interest, you store grain, and the price of the commodity drops, you got double trouble.
Well, as always, Tom, we appreciate the chance to connect. We'll touch base again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Don.
Tommy Grisafi with us from Advanced Trading, ATI Pro Media.